Everyone is mad at Instagram right now, and for good reason. The app used to be about photos, and now it's trying to do TikTok, like every app is. YouTube is becoming TikTok. TikTok has been becoming TikTok for years now. Also, Facebook, I think, is becoming TikTok. I can't even tell you what app I'm using anymore because I just find myself scrolling a little vertical video feed of random things that probably did originate on TikTok, but now they're being recycled and repackaged on every other TikTok copycat. And Instagram is making a big push that is destroying the fabric of our universe. So anyway, the Kardashians posted this a couple of weeks ago, and the Kardashians are very powerful influencers. The term influencer is kind of overused these days, but the Kardashians are like true influencers. Like when Kylie Jenner was mad at Snapchat and she just said that she doesn't use it anymore. Snapchat lost billions of dollars of market value. So the Kardashians are aware of their impact and they use it. Oh boy, do they use their influence, just like Kylie's using that private jet. Seems like nobody, myself included, is liking the direction that Instagram is going. By the way, follow me at Jarvis, always be plugging. So today we're going to look at what's going on with Instagram, why the Kardashians kind of have a point, and also why Instagram probably doesn't care what we think. But first I want to go into a little bit of history about Instagram and how we got here in the first place. Instagram had its humble beginnings as a mobile check-in app in 2010. Do you remember Foursquare? It was like that. Apparently they didn't want to compete with Foursquare, so they changed the app to focus more on photo sharing, but now they have a photo sharing app with no way to stand out. So on a trip to the beach, as legend has it, founder of Instagram, Kevin Systrom, was discussing with his wife the app and why she didn't want to take photos on the app. And she was like, well, if I post photos, they're never going to be as good as our friend Greg's. We all know a Greg. To which Kevin replied, Greg isn't that good of a photographer. He just uses filter apps on his photos. And ding dong, what's that? That's the sound of a billion-dollar company being born. So they added filters to Instagram, and the rest is history. Suck it, Greg. 2 short years later, an awesome hunk of a man named Mark Zuckerberg and his little company Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion.
Good morning, Jarvis.
Oh, hi, Mark. After the original Instagram founders left, Instagram started to become more and more like Facebook. I think we all kind of felt this, and it makes sense when you think about it because Instagram is essentially the only reason, other than memes, that Facebook is still something that people talk about. And in that way, Facebook is kind of like the Drake of social media, where they keep stealing from smaller artists to stay relevant. In 2013, when Facebook acquired Instagram, they only paid $1 billion to acquire the product and team. That is a steal by today's standards. And today, it is standard for Instagram to steal the best features of every other app. Sorry, I feel like I need to contextualize that $1 billion number. I think FaZe Clan just went public. FaZe Clan is worth more than Instagram was when Facebook bought it. Let that sink in. Also, Elon Musk offered to buy Twitter for like 50 2013 Instagrams. Facebook also tried to buy Snapchat for $3 billion, like around the same time. While currently Instagram is getting a lot of heat for Reels and essentially trying to become TikTok and steal their whole flow, let's talk about some of the other things that Instagram has stolen over the years. No one probably remembers this. I forgot. Facebook had 15-second looping video to compete with Vine. Like the 15-second video thing, some of these features are no longer in Instagram because they were more about attacking another business's model or trying to get into another space. To compete with Snapchat, Facebook created like disappearing messages that you could send to people. A famous one is Snapchat Stories. I think that people forget that Facebook just up and stole the whole feature of Snapchat Stories, and it hurt Snapchat a lot. So Be Real, a lot of people are talking about Be Real right now. Instagram is copying its dual camera feature, and that's like a test that's running right now that I don't even know if they'll keep, but they're definitely like seeing if it sticks. But then they were like, okay, TikTok time, let's copy TikTok. And this isn't even the first time they copied TikTok. Facebook made a whole app called Lasso that was just a TikTok clone, like straight up, and nobody used it. So they're like, shit, we've got to put this into Instagram so at least people will be forced to use it. In fact, Instagram Reels have replaced all video. You cannot upload a video on Instagram. It has to be a reel, or it becomes a reel on their back end. So you can tell that they are really sort of positioning this first and foremost in their app. There's a whole Reels tab. You can scroll on it and you can look at recycled TikToks. It reminds me of YouTube Shorts, where you can also do that. So Facebook is ruining Instagram one feature at a time. And that brings us to a couple of weeks ago where, like I was saying earlier, Kylie Jenner, Kim Kardashian reposted on their stories this post from an artist named Tati Brunning that said, "Make Instagram Instagram again. I'm starting a movement. Let's bring back the old Instagram. Share this to your stories and sign my petition. Link on my story." This is kind of funny to me because while the complaints are valid, the actual change.org petition, also the fact that there's a change.org petition, is a little silly to me because I don't know what they what they expect. But let's look at the change.org petition. So the post got about 2 million likes, which is a lot, and 300,000 people have signed the petition. So unfortunately, it has failed. Instagram will not be going back to the old Instagram because that's how things work, right? This is ridiculous, okay? This is ridiculous. Again, the complaints are valid, but this is, corny, and I'm going to have to unfortunately call it out. We the people declare that this is what we want. We the people. Those are powerful words. They've been used before. On a social network we like to call the United States of America. Bring back chronological timelines. There's no need to overcomplicate things. We just want to see when our friends post. The beauty of Instagram was that it was instantaneous. Back in the dawn of the app, we were all living in the moment, seeing our best moments in real time. That is all the way false. The big criticism is, I want to see what my friends post, and I want to see it in order. Twitter's had that criticism. Facebook had that criticism back in the day when they went to an algorithmic feed. Instagram is having that now. This is a classic criticism. But to imply that at the beginning of Instagram we were all living in the moment, seeing our best moments in real time, is just a lie. We were always putting forward our best versions of ourselves or posting shitty filtered food pics. Instagram has always been a vain vanity app that everyone has kind of made fun of. And it is not lost on me that the people complaining the loudest, the people with the biggest platforms, are the people who have huge financial incentives and potential financial gain. The Kardashians, Instagram is the platform where they famously, slipped the FCC guidelines and did a ton of sponsorships without disclosing them. Which reminds me, today's video is sponsored by Factor. Oh no, I've been scrolling Instagram so long that now I have no time to make food. Well, it's a good thing that I order meals from Factor. Factor delivers fresh, never frozen, and dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. They have a team of gourmet chefs that create each meal using only ingredients of integrity to help you feel your best all day long. I've used Factor for over a year now. I was already receiving my regular Factor meal, and then they sent me another box of Factor meals, so I had double the food. Factor's great because I can eat healthy in a pinch. It saves me trips to the grocery store when I don't want to cook. And also when I am really hungry and don't want to order delivery, I can just heat up a Factor meal and it's ready in minutes.
You're really good.
I'm a simple guy. One of my favorite meals is the spicy blackened salmon. It's got like smoked cauliflower with a little cheese. Factor also offers a variety of meals that meet different dietary needs as well, from keto, calorie smart, chef's choice, and vegan and vegetarian options as well. There's no prep and no mess. The meals come pre-packaged and they're ready to eat in as quickly as 2 minutes. Head on over to go.factor75.com/Jarvis130 and use code Jarvis130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. That's go.factor75.com/Jarvis130. Thanks again to Factor for sponsoring this video. Now, back to the gram. You can see how I'm torn here because, again, I also don't like the direction that Instagram is heading. But the messengers here don't have the best track record, unfortunately. I don't know anything about this Tati Brunning person, but the Change.org petition speaks for itself. Stop trying to be TikTok. We have TikTok for a reason. And let's face it, the only reels uploaded are recycled TikToks and content that the world has already seen. What's innovative and unique about old stale content? Nothing. That is a good point. It is true that the majority of these posts are reposts from TikTok. And Instagram knows this. But Instagram wants your attention. Instagram wants to give you a little TikTok. It's like TikTok at home. It's like, oh, I want to go over to TikTok. And Instagram's like, no, we have TikTok at home. The fact that you don't have to go out to another app, you would be surprised how effective that is. So even if it is TikTok, the fact that TikTok now lives inside of Instagram, but if it's Instagram, very similarly to how when, Snapchat stories were just on Snapchat and then Instagram started using them, or Instagram basically stole that feature, it ate directly into Snapchat's user base. Now, TikTok, I think, is too big to fail, and I don't think that Instagram is going to kill TikTok or anything like that. But I do understand why they're doing this, and it's because they want you to be on the app for as long as possible and see as many ads as possible. An algorithm that favors photos. Let's go back to our roots with Instagram. It's ridiculous to talk about Instagram in these terms. This is not a social justice issue. Let's go back to our roots with Instagram. And remember, the intention behind Instagram was to share photos. For Pete's sake, we didn't have video on the app until the developers were scared of Vine. Rip Vine, by the way. We missed that too. So this person does have a point. But this is how these businesses work. There is nothing sacred about the roots of Instagram. Instagram was a location sharing check-in app before it was a photo sharing app. And they leaned into photos because they thought that had a better chance of getting their business off the ground. And so when they see something like TikTok out in the wild, they continue to want to make share prices and revenues go up. So they will in a second abandon everything that made them themselves to continue expanding and growing. Nintendo, the video game company, used to make playing cards in the 1800s. It's just how it goes. They have no loyalty to you. They have only loyalty to the moolah. And that's on capitalism. A platform that listens to creators. It feels wrong to switch the algorithm on creators that have made a living and contributed to the community, forcing them to change their entire content direction and lifestyle to serve a new algorithm. Listen to the community, take our thoughts and requests into consideration. This is a huge point, and I don't even have a joke for this. This is just like super valid. So I talked to a number of my content creator friends, from photographers making photos on Instagram, and just like various content creators, and no one likes the shifts, because an ever-shifting algorithm makes it harder for us as creators to reach our audience. Because what my photographer friends are telling me is that now, if they don't fit into the Reels box, even if they are an incredible photographer, like shout out to my friend Linus, if you're a photographer and you want to take beautiful photos, then you now have to, you got to get with the program. Sorry, this used to be the photo app, but now it's mostly the Reels app. I wanted to see how big the problem was, so I got out a pen and paper and I did little tally marks on my feed for when I would get a regular post, when I would get a reel, when I would get an ad, and when I would get a suggested post, which, by the way, is always a reel. The results may shock you. Out of 100% of the posts on my feed, 50% were reels. If you think about what it meant to post a photo on Instagram before the reelsening, there are now half as many eyeballs seeing photos because 50% of the slots on the feed are reels. And I don't know what they were before reels. I didn't plan to make this video, but I didn't know reels was happening. But that's half the space for photos than, let's say, the beginnings of Instagram. Of the reels that were in the feed, 80% of them were suggested. And this is just, your mileage may vary. This is my stuff. And I think for whatever reason, I don't get as many ads as some of my friends do. So I also have been hearing that there's a lot more ads and shopping stuff. 80% of the reels on my feed weren't even reels from my friends, because my friends are busy living their lives and posting photos. Specifically, people who are leaning into reels are the people who are now eating. It's the Wild West. You can grow a ton by just posting a lot of reels on Instagram, because there's now a ton of people being forced to look at reels in their feed, which is a decision I'm not saying if it's a good or bad decision, but it's a decision that directly impacts creators dramatically. And Instagram is making this change very flippantly. I would feel pretty emotional if YouTube started to prioritize shorts over all other content, because I don't really produce shorts like that. You know, it's like I've made shorts before, but primarily what I do is long form video. So it's understandable that if suddenly my outlet for long form video was cut in half, if I was getting half the impressions because they were slotting in reels for regular videos, there would be a problem there. To all of the creators I talk to, there is a problem currently on Instagram with how they've handled this shift. If you're Linus, sorry Linus, I'm picking on you. You don't want to cram a bunch of crap into a reel to get someone to see your photos. You know what I mean? Like what are you supposed to do if you're a photographer and now the platform is shifting away from photography? You have to adapt because there's no other option. Also, I totally understand why that would piss people off. You know what I mean? Because it's just like, you know, things can change overnight, and they've changed overnight before on all over, like all across the internet, all across all of these platforms. The world needs photography. You shouldn't have to do some cringy reel for your art to be seen. That is a sentiment that is very common amongst photographers, I've heard. So Instagram responded. Instagram saw all of the likes on the post. They saw how many signatures the change.org petition was getting. They saw that they, it was kind of like a reference to Make America Great Again. They loved that. And they were like, oh, we gotta get in there. We gotta tell everybody we're not gonna change Instagram. We're gonna do just photos now. Just kidding. Obviously. They went into explain why you're wrong mode to the users. Companies spend a lot of time thinking about the direction that they're going to go, and they do a bunch of experimentation, and then they go in that direction. And I'm sure Instagram anticipated all of the backlash that they're receiving. And so now they're wheeling out their CEO, Adam Mosseri, to try and explain away the problem, to go, oh no, this is better for everyone. Everyone wants this. When in reality, that it's all about the money.
There's a lot going on Instagram right now. We're experimenting with a number of different changes to the app. And so we're hearing a lot of concerns from all of you. So I wanted to take a few moments and clarify a few things.
Okay, so he posted this immediately after the Kim Kardashian, Kylie Jenner situation. So this is maximum damage control. He says, hi, there's a lot happening on Instagram right now. I wanted to address a few things we're working on to make Instagram a better experience. Please let me know what you think.
One is, if you're seeing a new full screen version of a feed or you're hearing about it, know that is a test.
Instagram is constantly experimenting with different changes to their feed, as are all social media websites. They basically experiment. They find out if the experiment was a success based on the metrics that they chose. Are people staying on the website longer? Are they using it more? Whatever. And then based on that, they bring that to product people and they make a decision. A lot of times people see experiments that are ultimately for helping the company get a better understanding of like what would happen if they did make a big change, and they flip out, because that's happened with YouTube a number of times, and YouTube hasn't done a good job of communicating it in the past when they're running experiments, because trust me, every one of these websites is running hundreds and hundreds of experiments all the time. The issue is that not everybody knows that they're in an experiment, and there is, talk to be had about the ethics of experimenting on people without them knowing it. But when you open up your Instagram app and suddenly your feed is like a TikTok feed, except for, where you see like one post at a time, and maybe it's a photo sometimes, and maybe it's a reel the other half of the time, you go, oh, this app is literally becoming TikTok. And then it blows up because now you've got a video going viral of this change that no one likes. And that happened with Instagram. And so I think that contributed to a lot of the backlash that they received.
It's a test to a few percentage of people out there, and the idea is that a more full screen experience, not only for videos but for photos, might be a more fun, engaging experience. But I also want to be clear, it's not yet good, and we're going to have to get it to a good place if we're going to ship it to the rest of the Instagram community.
So that makes it seem like it's a direction that they want to move in, rather than something that they might do, they might not do.
The second thing I'm hearing a lot of concerns about right now are photos and how we're shifting to video. Now, I want to be clear. We're going to continue to support photos. It's part of our heritage. I love photos. I know a lot of you out there love photos too.
Technically, you will continue to be able to upload photos on Instagram. Whether or not people see those photos is a completely different question.
That said, I need to be honest. I do believe that more and more of Instagram is going to become video over time. We see this even if we change nothing. We see this even if you just look at chronological feed. If you look at what people share on Instagram, that's shifting more and more to videos over time.
I would love to see the metrics on this, but you could make this argument even if more people were just posting videos because they were reposting things that they saw. So I guess I'm going to take him at his word, but it's kind of easy to fudge what he's saying, just because as we consume more video 10, 20 years ago, we didn't have the bandwidth to be watching video all the time. And now as more and more people have access to better cell service, better internet, it's not a big deal to watch a video. You're not like, oh no, my data, which used to be a concern.
15 seconds of video. It's the right balance between not too short that constrains your creativity and not too long where you end up having to wait a lot of time for something to download.
And so, of course, naturally, the trend of consuming video is going to be higher because we as a society like to consume video. Does that mean that Instagram needs to become a video app? Not my decision to make, but I just want to kind of point out that a lot of this stuff is PR approved messaging to make people okay with what you're already planning to do.
If you look at what people like and consume and view on Instagram, that's also shifting more and more to video over time, even when we stop changing anything. So we're going to have to lean into that shift while continuing to support photos.
What they leave out here is when you make 50% of the feed video, you're kind of putting your thumb on the scale, right? One other thing that is completely left out of this is that if more people watch video on Instagram, more people will be on Instagram for longer because it takes a lot longer to watch a video than it does to look at a photo. So instead of people scroll till they run out of photos from their friends, what if we put a bunch of distractions in there that are things that you didn't ask for, that is just content meant to grab your attention, and that will technically make the engagement numbers go up. I'm bad at managing my time. I'll get caught into a hole of watching TikToks or Reels or whatever. Does that mean it's good for me? Does that mean it's good for the app? Does that mean that it's a thing that you should do? Yes, if your goal is to make money, which is why they're doing it.
The third thing I want to talk about is recommendations. Recommendations are posts in your feed from accounts that you do not follow. The idea is to help you discover new and interesting things on Instagram that you might not know even exist.
The idea is to help you discover new and interesting things on Instagram that you may not even know exist. Is also code for is a way for us to get you to stay on Instagram longer because your friends in real life don't post enough content to keep you on Instagram. But more charitably, I am the beneficiary of YouTube recommendations. Half of the people watching this video are not subscribed to me. It just showed up in their feed and they thought, oh, I agree with that sentiment, or I want to see what this is about. And you click on it and then you watch the video. So the difference is no one was going to YouTube to see the posts from their friends, or no one was going to YouTube to see photos. And when Instagram basically implements a TikTok/YouTube type thing, it's going to ruffle the feathers of people who are coming to Instagram for a completely different reason. And all of this is in effort to just grow Instagram into a bigger and bigger platform, especially when Facebook is not growing in the public zeitgeist.
Now, if you're seeing things in your feed that are recommendations that you're not interested in, that means that we're doing a bad job ranking and we need to improve. And you can X out a recommendation. You can even snooze all recommendations for up to a month or go to your following feed.
The translation of this is we're not going to change the algorithm feed. The suggestions are going to stay. Our ranking is going to improve, which ranking only exists in a algorithmically generated feed because they've got to order things in the order of like order they think is going to be most interesting to you or keep you most engaged. But then he suggests the alternative of going to your following feed, which is to say, if you don't like it, you can go to a different version of the feed, but not the main version of the feed. It reminds me of how YouTube has deprioritized subscribers in the past few years, you have the home feed that is the recommendation algorithmically generated feed, and you have to go somewhere else for subscribers. And so it's like, for the people who really only want the people they're following, we'll throw you a bone. There's a special feed you can get to, but you'll never be able to set it as your default. These are just concessions so that you don't complain as loudly about the changes that they're actually making, which are prioritizing video, algorithmic feed, suggested reels, whatever, which he's got to do his job. He's got to give the like PR approved spiel, but it's very transparent if you've ever worked at one of these companies or like can clearly see what they're trying to do.
But we're going to continue to try and get better at recommendations because we think it's one of the most effective and important ways to help creators reach more people.
The thing here, though, is that when they say creators, they mean creators of videos. Because if they were listening to photo creators, like photographers, they would know how much this is hurting them. And I have not ever been recommended a suggested post that was a photo, at least in the past, like since I was trying this out. Maybe that's a thing, but 100% of my suggested posts were reels. So if you're a creator who does photos, then you're not getting recommended. So I don't think, you can look at me with a straight face and say, you want to do your best by creators. You mean creators of a specific type. I mean, it's their app, can do whatever they want to do. It's their app, but I think, call a spade a spade.
We want to do our best by creators, particularly small creators. And we see recommendations as one of the best ways to help them reach a new audience and grow their following.
So this is another situation where the thumb is being put on the scale because they're recommending more things that will push you toward video. And they're also trying to grow more creators that are posting video so that there's just more video on the app. More video than there would have been organically if the app was less tailored to video. So that's a way that they make an active choice in tailoring the app to video. So I don't know why they don't just come out and say that. I mean, it's a company. When are they ever honest?
But we're also going to need to evolve because the world is changing quickly and we're going to have to change along with it.
I'll give some credit. Like Mosseri posts a lot like this. And it is you should think of it as company approved talking points that are framed as just like a person, giving it to you straight. They're not. But it can be informative for like trying to see like what the priorities of the platform are. Looking at the comments here, randomly, the worst person made a good point. James Charles, of all people. The reason there's so much growth for videos because we're being forced to post video. The performance of our photos has tanked more than 90%, so creators are switching to video, not because they want to, but because we're being told it's the only chance to grow. James Charles, I do not co-sign anything that he has done. In this particular instance, he is making a good point. We all want Instagram to be more like Instagram, not TikTok. See, that's the thing. I don't think there are enough people that care, is my fear. I don't think there are enough people that care about what Instagram is like because the majority of people, the billions of people that use Instagram are just casually using it on their break or like when they have a few spare minutes and they're not thinking critically about the platform. Like we as creators are thinking critically about the platform and we can leave, but they think that they have enough people who will get with the program to completely shift their business model to be more video focused. So that sucks. But I mean, it kind of is the name of the game when it comes to social media. I've seen a lot of a company changing something major and then the company just going through with it and then people forgetting about it. So in conclusion, I've kind of already said this, but Instagram, they want to make money for their shareholders. It's the profit motive. They want to make the app the most profitable it possibly can be while ruffling as few feathers as possible. Clearly, they will ruffle feathers if they think that there's a bunch of money to be made. And the TikTok thing is they see a huge opportunity there, and that's why they're going so hard towards it. But the bottom line is that Instagram has no allegiance to its users, despite the fact that it's a company. You know what I mean? If tomorrow Instagram found out that cooking videos and recipes were the ticket to more money on their app, Adam Mosseri would go and convince us that cooking is the future and there's just such a growth of cooking videos on the platform. And we're always going to support the photo creators and the Reels creators. But, you know, cooking is going to grow on Instagram. And there's a few features that we have that you can see all the non-cooking content if you so choose. But your main feed is going to be mostly cooking. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, that's what would happen if that's what the research showed. Because there are new Instagram users being born every day. And the more that they can hook on the app for longer, the more valuable those people are to them. So if you're a fair weather user of the app who doesn't like the changes and then ultimately leaves, you're not as valuable to them as someone that they could get addicted to Reels and follow 100 different Reels creators and watch Instagram like television. You know, it's just how it is. Man, that sounds so sad. It's just a company. It's just an app, guys. It's a huge one. It's a very huge and popular app. I don't think it's dying. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think it's probably more successful than ever. And Reels are so everywhere and they're getting so much engagement that it seems like the Reels experiment is working really well for them. I do kind of think that it's here to stay. I could be wrong. I don't really have a dog in this fight. I don't use Instagram that much, but I would use it more if you followed me at Jarvis, always be plugging. You know, as a creator myself, I think about, you know, should I be posting more on TikTok? Should I be posting Reels? Those things would grow me and my brand, and I just haven't got around to it. So when you see me doing it, it's because I want to keep being able to do this stuff full time, and I've got to get with the program and get with the platform. And we are beholden to platforms and how platforms promote us and allow us to grow. And we all find our lanes and figure our stuff out. I think, you know, what Instagram has done with photography and how that's, you know, affected photo creators sucks butt. I hope that there's some sort of way that they can prioritize those creators in a way that doesn't make them forced to post Reels in order to get anything seen. I just kind of wanted to talk about why Instagram like is annoying. You know what I mean? And why they don't really care so much about their users. Everything's going to be fine. There's going to be, you know, if it's not Instagram, there will be another cool new app that's fun and allows us to express ourselves in the way we want. I think. So that's all I wanted to cover today. I hope it wasn't too sad, but if you'll excuse me, I have to figure out how to post Reels.